Here's unit 7, day 4. So remember last week you took the start interim and then you also did your mid-unit test, which is basically just trying to make sure you know how to do your law of exponents or your rows of exponents. All right, for this week, we're going to make sure that you know how to classify polynomials by their degree from highest to lowest, that you will understand that adding and subtracting polynomials is the same thing as combining like terms, and then you will be able to simplify polynomial expressions using addition and subtraction. All right, so give an example of a constant. A constant can be any number, so 3, -6, 5. Notice I'm using commas to distinguish between the terms. You have 2x, a variable only x, y, and so forth. And then you have 2x, -3x, things like that. That's a coefficient in a variable. All right, let's move down to the next slide, which is an expression is a group of terms that are separated by addition and subtraction, and there is no equal sign. Okay. I don't know why I have this extra box, but we're going to delete it. Polynomial is an expression with many terms, okay? All right, here we're going to figure out how many terms. I said move the circles to separate the terms to tell you how many you have. So I'm going to do the first two, and then I'm going to pause it, and you're going to give me the next one. All right, and move one there. And move one around this one. Notice that I'm moving it around the -2, and then around this one, around the positive. You have to take the sign with that term. Okay, so here I have 3 circles, so I have 3 terms. This one only has 1 circle, so I have 1. So I'm going to pause right here, and I'm going to let you fill in the rest of the 4, okay? And then we'll come back and check. So here are the number of terms. I'm going to go ahead and go around the circles with you. I didn't want to do that without you because I wanted to make sure that, let's see how many terms you had to make sure that we could come up with the same numbers. So notice here I am putting the circles, and I'm gonna come up with 5 circles. Some of them are overlapping, that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this whole entire thing is 1. It wasn't big enough to circle it, but this last one is 1, 2. All right, so there we go. All right, the degree of a polynomial is equal to the greatest exponent of its variables or the sum of the exponents in any one term. When the term has 2 variables, you're going to add their exponents. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to find the exponent that has the highest, the variable that has the highest exponent. I said it backwards. Now, I wrote over here that what happens if you have 2 variables. Well, if you have 2 variables in one term, remember every term is separated by plus or minus. And in one term you have 2 variables, that means you have to add. So right here I have 1 variable in each term, so it's just 7 and 2. My highest degree would be 7. The highest degree here, it doesn't matter that they're 2 different variables, it's still going with the highest exponent. It's going to be 9. Okay, it doesn't matter that it's a variable and then there's a constant, the number. It doesn't matter, but because they both have exponents, so the highest exponent is 4. Again, this one, the highest exponent would be 5. And here, there's 2 variables, so we add the exponent. So 2 plus 5 is 7. There's 2 variables and they're only one term. There's no plus or minus separating them. So I'm going to pause here and let y'all figure out what this one is. All right, here you go. It should be 6 because this is 3, 5, and then this is one term, so we have to add it together, and that's 6. Okay, so on this slide it says to type in the sentence, highlight the entire underline and then type the missing word. So polynomials can be named based on the, I don't know why I put there, the number of terms and their degree. Mono means 1, so this is only 1 term. Bi means 2, that's 2 terms. Tri means 3, and so a trinomial would be 3 terms. Okay, monomial, binomial, trinomial. Anything more than 3 terms will be just called polynomial. Poly means many. Okay, all right, let's go to the next slide. All right, again, we're gonna highlight the entire underline to be able to type in the missing word. How to name using a degree. So a constant is a term with no exponent, no variable, and has a degree of 0 because it doesn't have cancel 0. Because there's no variable, there's no exponent, so it has a 0. This one would be a degree of 1 because there's one variable. This one would have a degree of 2, quadratic. Cubic would have a degree of 3, and anything that's degree of 4 or larger is just going to be n term, with n being the number. All right, so we're going to go to the next slide. All right, here's the next slide. We're just going to type in. Notice the first one's already done for us, so we put the degree, the name of that degree, the number of terms, the name of the using the terms, and then we put the whole name together. So this has a degree of 1 because the exponent only has 1. The variable only has 1. Let me all of this so we can make it centered. Okay, so when it's 1, it's called linear. You just push the tab key to go over. This one has 2 terms, so that's binomial. So together it would be linear binomial. Highest degree is 3, so that's why it's cubic. There's 3 terms. That's trinomial. That's cubic trinomial. Right? There is 0 degree because there's no variable. This is called constant. There's only 1 term, so this is a constant monomial. I'm seeing if I'm always halfway there. Okay, this next one will be halfway, and then you'll have to do the other half. And I'll pause it for this. 3 would be cubic. That's the highest exponent. 2 is binomial. So then that means that it's cubic binomial. Okay. So I'm going to pause, and I want you to pause, and then I want you to make sure that you come back and see that everything is filled out and match what you have. All right, here you go. So notice that for this one, the exponent, the V3 is on the back. That's okay. I know we're supposed to write them in order from greatest to least, but all we're doing right now is naming it, so it's okay. All you need to do is just look for the highest exponent. All right, so hopefully you guys have enough time to look over and make sure that you got from this way down correctly. Okay, here on this side, we're just going to practice naming it. So this is a 4th degree binomial. This one would be a constant. Oh no, it has a variable, so it would be a linear monomial. This one has a variable, so it's a quadratic because it's an exponent of 2, monomial. This has an exponent of 2, so it's quadratic, 2 terms binomial. This has 4th degree because that's the highest exponent, and there's 3 of them, so trinomial. This would be 4th degree. 4 is the biggest, and then it's 2 terms, so binomial. All right. Okay, now we're going to go into simplifying. So when there are parentheses, the first thing you need to do is to distribute. And so distribute the number, the sign outside of the parentheses. The next thing you'll do is something you already know how to do, combine like terms. Make sure that you take the sign with each term. And then you have to put them in order using the degree from highest, or we can say greatest, to lowest. All right, let's go on and practice some problems down at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to combine our like terms. Our like terms are m squared. That's a 5 plus a 3, so we do 8. This next one, we have to put the sign with it because it comes after the highest term. 9 plus 6 is plus 15. I'm going to let you name that on your own. All right, this one, the k, so 3 plus 7 is 10. Notice I'm not putting a sign in front of it because it doesn't need it. Negative 4 plus 12 is going to be plus 4. And then you'll name that yourselves. Okay, we go to the next one. Again, I'm going to let y'all name that on your own. Okay, I want you to practice it. Once we're finished with all the slides with combining like terms, then we'll go back and make sure that you have the term for it, the name of it, okay? All right, here we're going to add the W's. We're just going to combine like terms. So that's a 1, remember, imaginary 1 plus 7 is 8. The leading term does not have a plus or minus, does not have a plus sign in it. If it's negative, then you'll put the negative sign. But right now we don't have anything because it's positive. We go to this one, a plus 1, and a minus 4 would be a minus 3. And then minus 4 plus 8 would be a plus 4. Here, 8 plus 12 is 20. 1 plus 6 is plus 7. All right, right here, it wants you to find the total. So the total means that that should be a plus sign. So I'm going to make this bigger so we can see it. There's my plus sign right there. So I'm adding 5 plus 15 is 20. Negative 6 plus 8 is plus 2. And then plus 4 plus 2 is plus 8. All right, right here, we're going to have to distribute the minus sign. So that means that I change everybody's sign inside and change that minus to a plus sign. So that's why this became a minus, this became a minus, and this became a plus, because I changed those signs and put a plus sign now. Now I'm doing 6 plus a negative 1, which would be 5. Negative 3 plus a negative 1 would be a minus 4. Plus 1 plus 9 is plus 10. Alright, let's go back and then we'll double check and make sure that you guys wrote the right. Okay, so on this one it should have been quadratic binomial because you had an exponent of 2 and you have 2 terms. This is an exponent of 1 and 2 terms, so linear binomial. For this one you should have gotten quadratic trinomial because it's exponent of 2 and there's 3 terms. Here you should have gotten a quadratic binomial because there's an exponent of 2 and 2 terms. Notice I'm only writing it for the result. I'm not using the top problem. I'm using it after I simplify. That's when I'm going to name it. All right, so now you should try the independent practice with partner, group, or individually. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye. I missed this step right here. Okay, so right here we're dealing with negatives. I forgot we had to deal with negatives. What happens when you subtract? You're going to subtract, you're going to change the sign to a plus and change everybody's sign inside the parentheses. So it says move the boxes to see the new sign. So they were both positive, so they came out to be negatives. So now I do 6 plus a negative 4, which is 2. Negative 5 plus a negative 9 is negative 14. Again, I changed the sign of this to a plus and changes everybody's sign inside. So now we're plus, so they're both minus. So that's 2 plus a negative 1, which is 1. And then 5 plus a negative 6 plus a negative 5 is plus 1. All right, here we're going to combine how many x's we have. We have 3. Here we have 2, so plus 2. Now remember, there's a minus sign here. And we still have our 3 and our plus 2. We're going to change this to a plus sign, which causes everybody else to change here. So it'd be a negative 3 and a negative 2. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. 6 plus a negative 3 is 3. 3 plus a negative 1 is 1. And then we're going to put plus 6y because we don't have anything at the end. We don't have any other y, so it comes down. This right here will be the part that's left over. Anytime you have a shaded and unshaded, you're going to have to subtract the total minus what's inside. Right? You just have to make sure which one's the total. Is the total the shaded area or is the total the clear area? Okay? All right, now you can go and do what you need to do for the independent practice. Sorry about that.